Call to order. The time is about 7:31, 7:32. Bob, hello. Oh, good. All right, we're all set now. All right, present, chairman. And then we have Bob Fletcher, Matt Tisch, and Carmen Shaw. Correct me on the pronunciation of that.
I've only been on the Coastal Zone Management Commission for 2 years. It's common Chef.
Hey, but I'm still not, I have sometimes I have problems with those names. Okay, my fault, not yours. Okay, first item on the agenda, that is roll call. That's complete. We have our quorum, approval of minutes, October 26th. All of those who are here tonight, I believe we're here on the 26th, so we'll have a vote on that. Anybody have any? Has everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes from the October 26th meeting?
Yes.
Yes. Bob? Yes. Matt? Okay. All right. And anybody have any changes or alterations, additions, subtractions, whatever from the minutes?
No.
No. No. Okay. All those in favor of adopting the minutes as presented?
Aye.
Okay. That's 4. Okay. Very good. Then the next item on the agenda is the referral for 112 North Chatsworth Avenue as a residential site plan. Who's going to be presenting?
Give me a moment. I'm going to bring our attendees into the main part of the meeting here. The only one I can't promote is the one who's on a phone call. I'm not sure what to do with the one that's on just a phone call here.
Which one is that?
So dial in 914-901 881. Yeah. I don't know who that is, but I can't promote them.
There's Dean Scampone has got a screen up, but he's probably on the phone. Talking about virtual screen, you like my conference room?
Yeah, I like it.
It's very impressive.
That's in my my basement, right?
Yeah.
You can go bowling after the meeing.
I'm in my
Oh, I have a bowling alley picture as well, if you want me to put that
Oh,
one.
no, that's all right. We experienced that.
Joe Biden.
I'm in my basement too, but that's the real thing behind me.
Oh my God. Okay, let me write down who's here. So we have let's see, 3. Elliot. Did you figure out who the phone belonged to? Oh, that's nice.
Dean, do you know who Rob from LMC? Rob from LM. Is somebody on the phone, Dean? Your brother?
Your brother, maybe?
You're on, Dean. You're
Could
on,
be, yeah, he could be. I don't know. I haven't heard.
What's his phone number?
490-1881.
Yep, that's it.
All right.
So I know he can listen. I don't know if he can talk.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay.
Like he's muted.
Okay, who wants to lead off on this? Who's going to present?
I can start.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
So on my screen share, we have the existing conditions on the left side and our proposed conditions on the right side. So what we're proposing here is we're removing this this house of 112 North Chatsworth that has a driveway that runs down along the property line to a detached garage back here. And there
Back here, you say back here, but we didn't see any kind of a pointer there.
Oh, I thought I had a pointer up. Let's see. So this is nope, that didn't work. Let's try that over again. How about this? Well, I'm not a very good,
Takes practice. By the time we all get good
Yep.
at this,
it'll be over, all right? I don't know, it sort of highlighted all the text. But I don't know if you could say, do you see my cursor moving?
Yes,
I do.
I see
All
it.
right. All right, so that's the existing frame garage here, and this is the existing house here. The driveway comes down along the property line on the side here. There are a number of trees on the property that are slated to be removed. We do have an arborist report that either myself or Frank, the architect, can go over. What we're proposing is a house at roughly the same first floor elevation as the existing house. And we're gonna put a new front entrance garage in here. We have a dry well system in the front and the back. So we're putting in 4 Cultex here in the front and 6 in the back here. The back is going to take the back of the house, and the front will take the driveway and the front of the house. We're saving this. There's a tree in the right of way here that we're saving. It's not slated to come down. And we're constructing a 2.5-foot retaining wall on the right side. Right now, the driveway is almost dead level. It goes from an 84 in the back to an 84 in the front. And we seem to maybe have some pooling water that then overflows the driveway during a rain, and it runs down to the back. So what we're trying to do is create a high point next to the house so that half the water will run down to the back into the backyard. And then the other half of the water, the high point is right here, runs down to the front and is picked up either by the driveway drain or into the street. There is currently under construction by the neighbor to the left, a retaining wall, a concrete block retaining wall, approximately on the property line here. That was just being started construction today. We didn't know about it, but we did get it on the plan here. It's going to be about 3 feet tall on the neighbor side to the left.
Yeah, I took a ride by there today. There was a lot of activity.
Yeah, most of that activity is the neighbor to the left. That's not us. Dean, was there any activity today that you were working on?
No. There
Right.
was, they were doing scoping the sewer pipe. That was the only thing going on today.
All right. So if you wanted to go over the arborist report.
Well, first, I'd like to get enough feeling for the square footage of coverage, percent of coverage, and what the different changes are going to be.
All right. Well, our new coverage is 3267 that we created for the impervious surface for our drainage calculations. Frank, if you want to take over, you can go over the rest of it.
Sure. Sure. Let me see how I could share screen here. I guess I can just use your drawing here. I can't
All right.
seem to get a screen share. Maybe I can.
No, let me know.
Yeah, no. For some reason I can't.
All right.
Do I need to be brought in
Oh,
order?
you're there.
Got it. So as Elliot said, we're proposing to add 3267. The existing impervious coverage
I think it's larger.
is larger because I don't know what the number is offhand, but the driveway is substantially larger because it's reaching all the way to the back of the property and abutting the house and the detached accessory building, which Elliot mentioned is being removed. So that area will all be restored as lawn adjacent to the retaining wall we're building on the right-hand side. And we've minimized the driveway to basically go from North Chatsworth to the front of the garage, which is facing the front of the house.
I lost my, my screen.
Let me see if I could.
I must have closed it. Here they go.
Yeah, I guess, are you able to see Elliot's drawing at the moment?
For me, the picture hasn't changed. It's still the same drawing that Elliot was working from.
You are screen sharing.
Just reviewing your screen, Frank.
Frank, I think that's you now.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's you. We're on your screen.
I don't got it.
So as while Frank's doing that, as he was saying, yeah, there's a significant reduction, I believe, in the overall coverage. My calculations aren't allowed to take into account what the existing coverage is. That's why I didn't calculate it. But there is, I would say, we actually have a reduction in overall coverage or runoff.
And the square footage of the existing house and the square footage of the proposed house.
The proposed house living space is 3,466 square feet.
That's the footprint, or is that total floors?
That's total, both floors of living space.
I was thinking of the coverage,
The
footprint.
got it. I think minus the asphalt driveway.
Well, yeah, the asphalt driveway is a factor, but as you say, it's becoming smaller. I'm thinking of what is the size, the footprint of the existing house as opposed to the footprint of the proposed house. That's my question.
The proposed house is about 2,100 square feet of footprint.
Yeah, that's right.
And the existing?
The existing is, with the accessory building, I believe was closer to 2,400. I mean, we didn't field measure the house because, you know, other than having a property survey, the intent is to demolish the house.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty much equal when you put the garage together with the existing house. We're probably a little larger by a couple hundred square feet. We're farther back than the existing, and we're just as wide as the existing. So as you see it from the street, it's going to look similar width.
Got you. Okay, and you were talking about the arborist plan.
That's right. Are you able to see the landscape plan that's up on the screen?
I'm not seeing it. I'm
No.
still looking at basically the outline of the house and the outline of the lot.
Oh, I think that is the landscape plan.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's just small.
Confused. So this is the latest drawing. We went to the planning board for a consideration, and you can see these trees that we've X'd out here were what we were proposing. The one tree in the rear, which was a
Gum tree.
yeah, that
A gum tree.
which I can zoom into. One of the planning board members had asked if we could potentially save this tree, which is this 40-inch diameter tree. We had Mike Orsino, certified arborist, go out. He looked at this tree, and I think, Liz, you recall from your visit as well, that this tree had a large crotch in it. It was showing signs of rot and actually could potentially be dangerous because that rot could split this tree into a couple of pieces. So we still want to our intent is still to remove this tree in the rear yard. These other trees, this is also a liquid ambar, which is obviously too close to the house. These are very small trees. And then there was a request by a board member to see if we could try to preserve this 36-inch, again, liquid ambar tree in the front. This one's actually leaning towards the house. It has a large fracture in it, and also appears to be a dangerous tree to leave this close to the house. So our intent is to also remove this 36-inch diameter tree. We did submit the report. I don't know if you have a copy of it.
I mean, I have it on my screen. But basically.
Got it at my office, but we didn't send it out, you know.
All right.
So those are the trees being proposed, and then this is the landscape plan by Bob Bassford that was prepared. And there were also 2 trees coordinated with Liz that are proposed, these Princeton elm trees in the town right of way. There is a large 32-inch diameter, another liquid ambar that we're protecting again on the town's property in the front yard. And then there's some general screening and flowering plants around the perimeter of the house, as well as a couple of other deciduous trees on the right-hand side and around the periphery. But you could see there's more of a balance of lawn area, because currently the driveway is riding on the neighbors up, on the right-hand side. And as Elliot said, there are some water issues there that we're eliminating by creating pitch and developing this stone wall on the right-hand side.
That is an area that has had its water problems over the years. Although I think they're probably a little less now than they were.
I don't know how much you care about the architecture, but we do have this little 3D rendering. I mean, you can see the house to the left that Elliot mentioned is under construction.
I'm not seeing that.
It's the you're not still looking at the landscape plan, are you?
Yeah, that's what's still up on my screen.
Well, I got the pictures on my screen.
Huh. That's odd.
Somebody's not refreshing quick enough.
So you can't see the 3D rendering of the front?
No.
I can see
I
it.
can see it.
Yeah, I think the rest of us see it.
Yeah,
you do?
I see it, yeah.
So generally, the house to the right is approximately at the same elevation. The house on the left is perched up higher. So by resolving that little bit of water that's accumulating between the 2 properties, I think will make a nice improvement between the right neighbor and our proposed structure. This site plan, which is the architectural, just gives you a better sense of where the existing house is in red and where what we're proposing, which is the hard line. And you can see the garage, which sits out here as well. I guess if, we can answer any questions.
Liz, you were talking about the arborist plan. Have you reviewed this from the conservation office stand of view?
I did. I read the letter. I saw the trees with their landscaper, and yeah, I'm in agreement with it. They're really massive trees.
And Okay, you don't have any particular problem with the removal or anything like that?
I don't. I think I would they make me nervous.
Don't come to my house.
Yeah.
You want to see nervous trees.
I'm sad that they're going to be removing the ones that's healthy. That's at the top. That's in the front. I mean, the one that's rotted through, I get, but
Well, the one in the front says it has a lean and it has
it has a what?
it has cracks on the tree. The one in the sorry, the one in the front it says has a lean towards the house and stress fractures at the base of the tree. That's why he says that it would be advisable to remove it.
Yeah, because it'll fall down on the house.
Yeah.
I have no issues. I was looking up. I was actually on Zillow looking at the rendering of I guess the new house, and I was able to see the current house through the map view. So I was trying to figure out your footprint when you were trying to when you were trying to figure out the math. I don't have any issues with the with this house.
Bob?
No, there doesn't seem to be anything.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said, Bob.
I don't have any issues.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm along the same way.
Okay. Matt, where are you on this?
Yeah, I agree. I think the square footage of the house is a little bigger, but the driveway is insanely less.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Liz's, analysis of the trees in the sense that, these giant trees, they're the ones that are coming down that are wreaking havoc.
No.
I think we're in a phase, and this is just my own opining of our town, when a lot of these old trees are just, they're more now of a danger, and we just need to aggressively continue to get on planting programs so that, we're still in a growth phase of more and more trees, getting there, right? But with the storms we've been having and the power lines and people's homes.
Do you think it's just root damage from all the development, from just why these trees are all falling down? I mean, it's really depressing to see so many so many trees that have been around forever to just start falling down left and right. It makes you wonder if, there's just so much cutting of the roots. They're not stable.
We had a lot of trees fall down in the park where nobody has been developing anything and nobody's been cutting the roots.
Yeah.
I think that a lot of trees were planted at about the same time. And they're just getting to that point where they're on Medicaid.
Yeah, a lot of these trees were planted pre-World War II, and they've just about reached their maximum lifespan.
I requested that they plant some Princeton elms because I've been wanting to try the new elm trees. So I thought this would be a great location for that. So we're going to give them a go.
It sounds good. I have no issues with this.
Okay, then. Thank you, gentlemen, for your presentation, and we'll get out a letter to the planning board.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Okay. I don't know. I can't leave.
Hello, Sarah.
There we go.
Hi, how are you? Sorry, I was on mute. How's everybody?
We're well. Good to see you, Sarah.
Thank you. Oh, and Maurizio's here too, hiding behind my other window I had open.
Yeah, I was hiding in plain sight.
Hiding behind a window I had with the chat open. So,
I'm still looking at the map, the site plan. I don't know why it's
I
hanging.
don't know, you're stuck on there.
You might want to update your Wi-Fi or your router.
I don't know why haven't had this problem before.
I don't know how you're talking without moving your lips, but that's the way it looks.
Yeah, well, no, when I move my head though, but it's a little bit slow to react, but it's there. So I know it's updating. Just seem to have bogged down on a picture of the site plan. I'm just gonna close these out.
So I was reading through more about the Army Corps of Engineers, the nationwide general permit, and the letter. The letter does say that if we object to the Corps' CZMA consistency determination for certain activities authorized by the proposed nationwide permits, then the Corps will deny, without prejudice, authorization for those activities. I guess just in our own community,
Right.
General, I'm not really sure.
Well, do we want to object?
I mean, when I looked through it, it was pretty broad, and it took away a lot of our control. So I wasn't a fan of it.
Yeah, that was
everything had no limit, no limit, no limit, no limit, and it was just dredging and things that I think that just it made me feel uncomfortable. But I know that oftentimes when you'll have Army Corps of Engineer will still have to get state permits, so there may be some control there, but it just seemed like giving away a lot of our control.
Yeah, I thought so too, and I wasn't too happy with that. And Bob Fletcher had reminded me of a problem with it too. So,
right, you mentioned the 300 linear foot limit for losses of stream.
Right.
So, I want to be as specific as possible if we write a letter back to them.
I mean, I flagged a few when I was going through it, but then what bothered me was just the idea that there's just no limit on any of these areas. It just kind of made me nervous. Like, it's one thing to have it just seems like we're losing all of our control, and they're expanding where they would normally do work. I wouldn't understand, like, for navigable waters, but like, where does that end? I just wanted to kind of get, when I was going through it like a couple of weeks ago, I just felt like there were too many issues I had throughout the whole thing, that if we need to go back and respond, it would take a little while for me to kind of comment on each section. And I'm sure the rest of you would probably have similar ideas.
Well, it just feels like a lot of removal of limitations, right? Of restrictions.
yeah, that was my feeling too. But Liz, you say that there is a provision in there that they would be responsive to an objection on a particular project.
It says on the cover letter that they sent us, it does say that if we object to their consistency determination for certain activities, we'll deny authorization for those activities.
It's so broad. It's like I want authorization for everything. So,
well, that's what the general permits are. I mean, they're really a permit that exists because they're broad, because these are activities that happen often enough that it's like a blanket permit.
Yeah, no, and you would think of a normal course of business, but it just seems like some of this stuff doesn't seem like normal course of business to me.
Right, that it is too broad. So if you have a specific,
I understand your interpretation of that letter, that basically they have a general permit, but if there's a specific project or activity that's going to take place in our jurisdiction, they're going to give us an opportunity to object to or to review or criticize their consistency determination. And we can basically put a stop to the project, that they said they will deny authorization for the project.
Well, yeah, if a project happens and there is a local LWRP, if, you know, we have a local coastal zone management commission and our own LWRP that they have to refer it to us for local consistency review. And we've heard a lot of projects in the past that have, you know, come to us for local consistency review for projects that have happened.
I mean, can you make a response by stating that we don't object as long as it's consistent with our LWRP? And that way it trumps whatever their permit requirement is, their permit request is at that time?
Yeah, you know, to just upon Liz's, on the end of that first, the first page, last paragraph, goes on, anyone wanting to perform such activities must obtain an activity-specific CZMA, consistency occurrence, right?
Right.
Right, so there, I mean, I think that would be the only comment is we just want to make sure what we're reading this here correctly. That this is a general broad permit, but when push comes to shove, our own consistency can override it or.
Right.
Yeah, something that puts our plan trumps their requests. So that they would still have to get our approval if it's going to go against our plan.
Well, it seems to me
This
the
wouldn't-
key is that we need to have the opportunity to review it before it goes forward. And that we can decide, we have a chance to see if it's consistent or not.
Right. Now, the only place that this would not really apply to us is if it's farther than 1,500 feet offshore, like in the middle of the Long Island Sound, we would not have jurisdiction.
Which makes sense.
Right.
I mean, they should have navigable waters, and I mean, that should be their purview. It's just my fear is as they start going into our land area, then, or inlands, where does it stop and when does our jurisdiction step in? And I kind of get nervous about the way it's written, that blanket approval will take away our control.
Okay.
I take it the 1,500 foot criterion would include all of Larchmont Harbor in our jurisdiction and all of Mamaroneck Harbor?
Right. Well, Mamaroneck Harbor would be under Mamaroneck's LWRP, but yes, we include Larchmont Harbor in ours. And then it would just be offshore, like past Premium Point. I think it's 1,500 feet towards the sound.
Right. Yeah, there are some irregularities in the how far out the land runs. You know, some of those early charters and so on changed. I mean, just to tell a homeowner there that he owns 1,500 feet out into the water seems strange, but it's true in a couple of places. So.
So, I mean, specifically, I saw that, you know, we object to this, that the disturbing more than 300 feet of bank.
Yeah, I think that's a starting point.
What else did they have here? And then there was a list of some newer permits at the end. They had like mariculture. A lot of things to do with utility lines, water reclamation and reuse facilities. I'm not sure I understand what that is.
Part of the sanitary sewer system.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
There's something about, I remember the dredging thing bothered me. But when I was looking through that before.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just my
material.
Yeah, and maybe it's because I've had lawsuits with Army Corps of Engineer with dredge and fill, and they've really destroyed the environment on it. that some of this stuff just brings back other issues for me than not necessarily for a specific, not to say, you know, this happens still, but I've had history with this.
Keenan, do you think you could put some of that, some of your thoughts on that in writing, and maybe we would carve out a response? I mean, you have the experience of dealing with them on these things, and that's my sense too, that, you know, they're throwing us a bone saying, yeah, you can object, but the truth of the matter is it doesn't mean anything.
I mean, from what I've dealt with Army Corps of Engineers for like massive cleanups and things, they've overridden all local control. And so I guess, and sometimes they'll make, you know, huge mistakes and it will really decimate the local area. And there's not a lot we can do after the fact. It's better to have that control beforehand, which is why I'm trying to figure out a way to see if we can keep as much control as we can, so they have to come to us first before they do anything. Navigable waters, big, you know, those areas I have no concern about, but anything that comes near our banks, wetlands, dredging, you know, pushing things out further, or, you know, opening up canals, those can just turn into bigger issues. And I've only seen the lawsuit side of it, not necessarily the, you know, the good side of it. So I may be just seeing this in a really negative way.
Well, I think there are a lot of people who feel the same way you do, Keenan.
So I can take a look at it, but basically, and I think this is what I was trying to figure out, is if there's a way we could make a blanket statement that says, well, we don't object to them having a general permit, is it, you know, we believe, we want it to be consistent with our plan. And if it's not consistent with our plan, they have to get our authorization first.
Right, where they'd have to come to us for consistency.
Yeah. And so I, you know, because I can, you know, and I know like the state still has a lot of control over this, so you'd still be dealing with DEC with some of these bigger issues anyways, that I may be paranoid.
That doesn't mean they aren't out to get you.
But have we ever had issues with the renewal of the permits, or is this the first time that we've been asked to?
Well, I think the original purpose of these permits was to allow repairs and reconstruction in kind where damage was done and that kind of thing. And they've been sort of blossoming out, and more is being done under them than probably was intended with the original plans. I don't know if this is the first renewal, but I think it is. I think it's an expansion of they're looking for an expansion of unhindered authority is really what's going on here.
Yeah, it's very expansive for a general permit. I completely agree with you. Maintenance and repair is what I'm used to. This is like, what if we want to do new construction type world?
Yeah, maybe that's where we ought to be emphasizing where we'd like to draw a line, Liz, that while we're sympathetic with the need for being able to repair quickly, and a general permit that could be moved rapidly through the process, that if we're new construction or major changes, it's a kind of a gray area. It's going to be hard to define. But what we're really looking for is to put the brakes on just somebody coming in and say, okay, you know, the golden rule applies. We have the gold, so we make the rules. And we're going to do this, this, and this.
It's like if you go back to like regular environmental law of what you get a permit for, right? Like your speedies permit. Like once you start changing or expanding into it, you're then having to apply for a whole new permit. So it seems like what they're trying to do is take this general permit that was normally this limited in scope, and then just being like, this is now a whole new permit for whatever I want to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree that, you know, a lot of these permits like aids to navigation, structures in artificial canals. So, you know, they're talking about, you know, gates and things like that. Maintenance, that's something that's always been in here. Fish and wildlife, harvesting, scientific measuring devices, survey activities. These are all things that seem like something that's very legit for a general permit, but then you get to like number 12 and it's oil or natural gas pipeline,
That's what I was reading. That's exactly what I was
Huge.
reading.
right?
That was a huge red herring. I was like, are they kidding me? They're really trying to put that in there in this? Like, I found that as a
Considering what's
huge
going
red
on,
flag.
So let's call them on that.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even have to get to dredge and fill. I thought that was just way too expansive. I was like, and they would have to, but they would have to do so much. They'd have to get through so many other permit process before they would even get there by law, that it's still, you know, I'm still not worried that that permit would necessarily give them that authority, but still for them to even seek that authority in this way is just made me you know, a lot of red herrings.
Right, they would only have to notify, right, pre-construction notification threshold. New oil or natural gas pipelines greater than 250 miles.
Oh, well, that's fine. We got that. We can let them put 250 miles without any trouble, right?
Yeah, they'll just go right from, go right through Rochester and Rye, right to Near Shell.
Just
Do
lay
not
one
step-
along the
do not-
Appalachian Trail.
Yeah, right on along the Leatherstocking Trail. Right in the river, for that matter. Because I think this allows them to just go right in the middle of the river.
Because, you know, Con Edison is in the process of changing many their gas lines are starting to leak all over the place. And in order to supply the volume, they're having to increase the pressure. You know, if they have a 5-inch or 9-inch or whatever line, and they have more and more users, and rather than put in a bigger line, they just raise the pressure. And one of the problems that some of the gas companies have been having are these houses blowing up because the pressure regulators didn't work. They couldn't handle the higher pressure. Remember that situation in Massachusetts where a whole neighborhood, the houses blew up? About 2 years ago, I guess it was.
Wow.
And, you know, they're around here, we have some low pressure and we have some medium pressure mains, but I think they're going to be looking to go to high pressure or medium high pressure in order to meet their requirements as far as delivering gas service to some of these neighborhoods. So I think that, you know, they're not thinking of 250 miles of gas line in one string. They're thinking of maybe 250 gas lines scattered throughout the town. And we probably have 250 miles of gas line in the town from various shapes and sizes with the feeders to every little street. So, you know, I just,
But how would the Army Corps get involved in Con Ed's project?
only if they were doing it along the waterfront and, you know, feeding out to some of these islands that we have out here. You know, the sewer lines run underneath the harbors too. I don't know if that's Con Edison particularly, but the outflow lines for the treatment plants and that kind of thing are buried in the mud underneath the harbor and out.
And the Army Corps can oftentimes work on projects with, you know, private companies and then take over the permit requirements to kind of get approval quicker.
Because they can.
So like they'll bypass a lot of the regs that companies would have to go through since they get their own, they have a lot more ability to kind of do whatever they want.
Yeah, they can just drag through.
So that's kind of, you know, sometimes they work on great projects and a lot of good has happened. Sometimes they've been on some pretty bad projects and some pretty bad results.
Yeah.
But I guess I apologize. I have to jump off in a few minutes. If I don't, you know, I'm not sure how we want to go about this, Liz, with the permit. My fear is, to be honest, I'd rather it be a no unless it's consistent. And then you have to come to us with, and then using these, you know, using the oil and gas, the dredging as examples, instead of being very specific on each issue and then limiting ourselves on where we can be, where we are rebutting them on. Do you see what I'm saying?
So don't be too specific, you're saying, and just be more vague about it, or?
I'd rather it be that they have the burden to show consistency
Right.
than our burden, than the burden shifting on us
Mhm.
to show that it was already approved unless it's specifically not approved. Do you see what I'm saying? So it's more
Right.
about burden shifting, so that they believe like, okay, we have to make sure it's consistent, but since we're the experts on consistency, they would have to come to us. Whereas then if we say, we believe it's not consistent on this, and this issue, they'll believe then it's consistent on all the other issues, and hence they don't need our permission.
Good point. The
Yeah, I
lawyer
hear
is
you saying.
speaking, the lawyer in you is showing.
I know. It's like, for once I got to like use my environmental litigation experience, but yeah.
No, you're mirroring my thinking that, if we define very carefully what we don't want, then they
Yeah.
think everything else is just fine. They can do it.
Exactly.
I think that we have to resist shifting the burden.
Yeah, and I can help you. I can actually write that language for you, Liz, to flip over that you might want to use to flip over for. Obviously, it's Alan, you're a lawyer too, so you can take a look at it too, and then we can use those areas that are really like problematic as examples, but not limiting us to those examples.
But
No
kind of
limitation by specificity.
but there weren't that many.
Yeah,
changes
I think so.
in 2017.
That would be great if you could kind of put just some of that language together, and then Liz and I will try to massage it a little, get back to you and talk about it. Matt and Bob, what are your thoughts?
And I think Sarah was trying to say something.
Yeah.
Oh, Sarah, I'm sorry.
No, there weren't that many
Sarah?
changes from the 2017.
Where is Sarah?
Do you hear me?
There. Yeah, I don't think we gave blanket approval in 2017 either.
Okay, because what I was going to say is there weren't that many changes from 3 years ago.
Let's not do it again. Let's not.
So, but I guess kind of what you're saying is you have issue with the whole thing, not just the changes from
Yeah.
the last version. Okay.
So I don't know if CZMC gave blanket approval in 2017. I don't think they would have. I don't know. I feel like this has come up in front of us before, and it would have been my first year on the board. And I remember us just rejecting something, but I don't recall us ever giving blanket approval for anything.
I think we did have comments on the last round, and it was about the stream banks.
Mm-hmm.
We said,
Right.
specifically that we thought that the language in the nationwide permit pertaining to stream bank restoration was too allowed for. We felt that no amount of stream bank disturbance was okay.
Uh-huh. And do you think we came across that we gave approval for the rest of it? I couldn't imagine us looking at oil and gas and being like, yeah, that's fine. Or dredging. Dredging is a big issue for me.
They may not have had their oil and gas discussed in their memo at the time. It may have been that just sort of slid by. We may not have been responding to that.
I was just going to see if I could find a letter, but I got disconnected from the town.
But if there's a way we could write it in a way that's not that we're objecting as much as long as it's consistent. And then what'll happen is if someone's looking at it and being like, oh, do we have the go ahead? And they're going to be like, as long as it's consistent, well, let's just ask them if it's consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And then it'll end up in front of us anyways.
Yeah.
Right, and then these things do come back to us. I know that they sent us something earlier in the year about bridge washing. So they were actually going around and, they sent notices to every community that had bridges in the Thruway Authority was going to be washing bridges, cleaning bridges.
Mm-hmm. But I can draft something. It doesn't have to be long, and it doesn't have to come across negative, as much as just making sure that we retain control, and then you guys can take a look at it and see what you think.
That would be great. That would be very, very, very helpful, I think, Enid. Thank you.
No worries.
At some point earlier in this conversation, the distinction between maintenance and repair versus new projects, new construction was mentioned. Do we
Right.
want to make a distinction in our response?
I think I use that as an example. I don't know how they specifically worded it. But I use that more as an example of how general permits are usually for maintenance and repair. And usually for I know for Speedy's permits, you would need a new construction permit and you can't work off your old permit. You can only work off your old permit for maintenance repair. But if you're going to do any new construction, you would necessarily need a new permit for Speedy's or NIPD's permits, which is this general permit sounds like it's not a new NIPD's permit. It looks like it's just a renewal of an old NIPD's permit.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, we still have a little time to respond to this, right? Am I correct, Liz?
I think it was September 29th, and we had 90 days.
90 days. So we're looking at the end of October, November, December, the end of December.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, sadly, I will be here doing nothing, so I can take care of it during Thanksgiving break.
Oh, that would be great.
I mean, I'll have kids, but since no travel and no going anywhere.
Right.
We're having a grand total of 3 people for Thanksgiving, including ourselves.
Wait, Liz, sorry.
We usually have about 12.
Sorry, can you, so it says.
All right. I think that's good, and we'd appreciate it. if you could-
Wait, Sarah's trying to say something.
I feel like no one can hear me.
Can hear you.
Sorry, just to can you hear me? Yeah. To clarify the date, I'm confused.
Bob, you were going to say something? Oh,
I think Alan's on digital delay.
Wait. I want to clarify the date of response because what I'm reading is it said the date was October 6th, and it said you have
video. I'm not on delay. As soon as I move my hand, I see it on the screen, but I guess the audio is a little late, huh?
It says if we don't hear from you within 30 days, we will presume that you have no objections to the proposed project. Am I not reading the right timeline here?
There's 2 letters here. One of them is a memorandum from the Department of State, and that was dated October 6th.
Right. And that was 1 month they gave us, right? And then this one is the 30 days from the 15th. Sorry, the 90 days from the 15th. That's the one you're looking at?
Right. So there's 2 of them. The second letter is from the Army Corps of Engineers to the Department of State.
Okay. So you feel like that September 15th plus 90 days is what you're going on, not the.
Well, if it's the other letter, then we're already too late. But
Okay. I just wanted to clarify how much time we have, but okay.
Even if we're too late, it's still good to put in our objections. That way they're like, oh shit.
Still write the letter.
They would.
Okay.
They're still gonna be like the court. If it ever went to court, which it wouldn't, they'd be like 30. It's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Because.
Okay. I'll stop talking now.
No.
Alan's still talking. Don't worry.
Anyone else have any questions? Anyone else have any thoughts on it?
I do not.
I guess so. The only thought I had, sorry, not to be devil's advocate, but Liz, is this typical for how? I have not read a lot of these types of papers. Is it I mean, I guess the question is how much leverage do we have to write back to them? I mean, and if we haven't done in the past, is there a precedent for us to be able to push back this much?
We actually do have a lot of power with the LWRP and coastal zone. Being the local, they have to ask the local. If there is a local, they have to come to us and ask us what our opinion is on it.
Okay.
And a lot of times, Sarah. Yeah, and a lot of times when you don't, if you don't show you've got power, then they'll override you, and then it's hard to get your power back.
Right. No,
So
I agree with that. I'd rather have it than.
Yeah. So it's kind of like we have to fight the good fight. They can totally override us. I mean, they're the Army Corps of Engineers, but they'll think twice and they'll know it's painful. And that's really kind of, you want to be like, if you override us, it's going to be hell for you. I mean, they can, but we're not going to go down quietly. And then oftentimes they're just like, it's better to have buy-in, and you have better negotiating powers to be like, okay, if you want to open up this area we want X in return. We want to be able to do this. And we just have more of a ability to
Yeah.
kind of put what we want in it in the parameters.
Right, right. And we're, more power than you think we do. We were able to, to save 40 Ocean. They're coming back to us, by the way. They're coming back. They're leaving the house. They're leaving the main house. They're building 2 new houses in addition. So they're going to leave the main house.
Okay.
So that's coming down the pike. And then we had Manor Park Society. I got an email from them today that said that they were, oh no, it was a week ago. Sorry, I'm behind in my email. That they're going to do a project to restore the pathways and some of the native plantings at the park.
Okay.
So they're just kind of basically giving us a FYI, they're going to be working on this. So I can share that email with you guys.
Okay.
Alan, you're on mute.
Yeah,
Ellen?
Alan's on mute. Should I unmute him?
Yeah, unmute it. That's nice.
Better unmute me, yes. I think it's a little unfair there, Liz.
You were having a different conversation than the rest of us, Alan.
Okay, well, what I was saying is if nobody else has anything else, let's have a motion to adjourn, and I'll look forward to reading those letters. You were going to get those letters out to me?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And next
I'll
time
second the meeting to adjourn.
all those in favor?
All right.
Raise the hand. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Good to see everybody.
And everybody, happy
We'll do this live in person someday soon, hopefully. By the spring.
Well, our next meeting is going to be the end of January, so.
Oh, wow. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Yeah, happy holidays, guys.
I surprised my wife with the idea that I'm not shaving until I take a vaccine.
Can I dress you up in Santa Claus and have you come by my house? Get a nice white beard going.
I'll just walk by and wave. I want to keep the distance.
Dump off a bag.
Bye, guys.
Have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe, everybody.
Same to you. Bye.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Rob.
You're welcome.
All right. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
You too. Stay safe.